Today we're working on a to-do app. It's going to be a full stack front end and back end. Just simple full stack to-do app. Person will be able to add to-do item. To-do item will be ID that'll be auto-generated by MongoDB. A task that's a string. Created and updated at and deleted at. And deleted at will start as null, and all these will be strings, date strings, new date, ISO string to ISO string. And front end will have button to add to-do list item. It'll display the to-do list to-dos in a list format, and then you can update or delete that item. Back end will have CRUD, that's for to-do, that's create, read, update, delete. So the endpoints will be API v1 to-dos, and it'll have add task, get tasks, update task, and delete task. And the front end will use Axios for HTTP requests, and the backend will be molecular.js, and that's going to be the link will be molecular.services. We'll be using Mongo and Mongo Express and Docker, and Nats inside of Docker Compose, and then use Docker to run those. Hey, what's up, Minsu? Oh, okay, you're muted. Alright, well, let's get started. So I started the to-do backend and the to-do front end folders. So the front end was using Vite. I'll show you the commands. So I think the to-do backend was, let me just look at my history real quick. History. Let me see here. So it was so I installed molecular CLI globally, and then molecular init project to do backend, and for the front end it was npm create Vite at latest. So that was those bring up prompts to bring up the projects with the files included. I like to use molecular because they give you a lot of boilerplate code, and it's very simple to structure. You just put your services inside of this folder with the service.js. So I'll explain that in a second. And then in the front end, this is just straight out of the box using Vite with React and TypeScript. And I just deleted everything in the app.tsx. So let me show you how that looks right now. It's just to do front end. If I add another one of these ones or something, it should say to do front end 2 times. Yeah. And it has some built-in CSS from here that I'm not going to mess with for now. And in the molecular, this is the website. Oh, that's the Docker hub. This is the website. So this is the npm CLI. So I'm using the CLI to init the project. And I just added a couple things in the Docker Compose, which was Mongo Express, and then I just opened up the port 27017 that's the default Mongo, so that's on the port, and then I just added the Mongo Express configurations, and I think that's about it. And I'm using the Alpine image for Nats. So let's get started on the back end. So let's just clear that out. Maybe I can just make this a little bit bigger, but then it's kind of hard for me. I think this is a good size. Alright, so what we'll do now is we'll go into the to-do backend. And we'll do, and then in the the environment folder file, I put the Mongo URI, which is going to be needed for the mixins and the DB mixin. So it's looking for process env Mongo URI, and then it'll stick the Mongo adapter into the there with the Mongo adapter with the Mongo URI. So the first thing I would like to do is inside of the molecular config file, at top of file, I'd like to say, and I installed .env for the to use the environment variables. So that's going to be inside of the dev dependencies .env, So in the molecular config, I'll just put require.env.config, and that should just make it so that we can use the env file. So then if I just do docker compose up -d nats mongo express, it should be able to, it should run those images, run those in from the docker compose, and then from here I will get rid of the greeter service and the product service. I'll just delete these guys. I will keep the greeter. I'll copy the greeter service, and then I'll just make something called v1.todos.service.js. I'll paste him. We'll call this guy todos, and I think we go version 1. Let's look at this guy. Dependencies, actions. We don't need any of this. So get rid of all these guys. Alright. So let's just look at here. Look at here. Services. So just read settings. I just like to look at my product service real quick. So we need to add the mixins, the to-do service. So our name. Like this, and we'll say const db mixin equals require at dot slash mixin slash db mixin, and this will be to-dos. Alright, and we can delete this guy now. From products, we also need settings and then fields. So these are the available fields inside of our inside of our API. So we said in our README that we'll have ID, task created at, and updated at, and all this stuff. So let's put that stuff in. Oops. ID task. Whoops. Created at. Updated at. Deleted at. Cool. And I think that should be good for now. And then I think we do need const molecular client error equals require at molecular dot errors. Okay, so where I like to use it is we'll just make a nice little health check action. Rust get ping async handler we'll just say return at pong try catch throw new molecular client error. I don't think it'll ever get in there, so we don't need the try catch. Okay, so let's run our backend. So in the package JSON, let's close all these files real quick. There's npm run dev, so that's gonna run the molecular runner, and then it's gonna have the REPL. I'll explain that maybe later. And then the hot refresh. So if I save, it'll refresh the file. So npm run dev. So, whoops, I have accidentally run the product service, which has a CDB. So I'm gonna remove that real quick. And now that we've run everything, we can go localhost 8081. That's going to be the Mongo Express. This is the to-do backend. This CDB ran. I'll just delete it real quick. And delete that. And then let's just run this real quick. And in the to-do service, stop the server. Cool. Oh, crap. Let's do that real quick. npm run dev. And localhost 3000 API v1 to-dos / ping. It should say pong. So that's our endpoint working. So the way that molecular works in this service file, actions will be your HTTP requests, and your methods will help be your helper functions. Like I said, it looks kind of like Vuex if you've ever used Vue. Like I used to use Vue 2.0, and Vuex used to kind of be structured like this, so I like the way it looks. And you have a couple other things like events, so when an action gets called, you can automatically run this, and when it's created, it's kind of like a hook. When it started, so this is like service created lifecycle event handler when it's created, service when it started, and when it stopped. So I don't really use those that much. So let's go here. Let's stop the server. Whoops. Let's stop the server, and then we'll in the actions here. We'll just put a little comment here. This is a description for v1.todos service. Alright. And then we'll just do here, we said we're going to make add task, get tasks, update. Let's look at the redo real quick. Update task and delete task. Update task and delete task. Alright, so these are the what we said we're gonna make. So I think first we'll say add task. So let's call it add task. That's the action. And by this name you can call them with the broker from the other files, other services, but we won't do that for now. So we'll do rest at a post add task, and in the params I think all we need to do is say we need a task. It's going to be a string, and it's going to be optional false. And async handler CTX, so that's our context. We're going to say try catch, throw new molecular client error to string. Alright. So first thing we want to do is we want to grab task from ctx.params. Oops. There you go. Now with that task, maybe you want to make some kind of method here called like to do item, and then we'll just say this takes a task, and we'll say return. It'll be an object. It'll be the task. It'll be const now equals new date to iso string, and we'll say created at now updated at now, and then we'll say the deleted at equals null. So now we can call that here. You can say if now let's just do it. All right, const item to do equals this dot to do item, and then we'll add the task here. And cool. So now if we just return to do, let's try that out. So alright, now let's open up my Insomnia here, and let's just do something here. Personal project, Insomnia. Here in let fill, we can add to do. Let's delete this guy. Delete, and then we'll just right click. We'll add something. HTTP request. We'll bring it into. Wait. Delete. Okay, we'll add an HTTP request here. And we'll say post. Here we'll say V1 to do's add task. There we are. Now just to name it. And alright, so HTTP / localhost 3000 API V1 to do's add task. So that's what we need to do. We need to send a body JSON task test task. Let's see if it works. So we get back a task created at, updated at, and then deleted at, as you can see. So that's the functions working for the to do item. Now we need to add it into MongoDB. So we can say const insert to do item equals await this dot adapter dot insert, and then we'll say on the to do, and then if something happens here, right, if it returns null or something, we can just say throw item did not get added, or we can just say something went wrong. Alright, something went wrong. Alright, now if it's all good, we can say, hey, we want to return that. So right now in our, there's no database yet because there's no data. So if I run the Insomnia one more time here, let's actually put this here so we can have our code open. We can close, we can minimize that, and we'll go back here. We'll send it. So now an ID is auto-generated, test task, and then we'll say, we'll look here, we'll refresh. Our to-do backend is here, and our to-dos collection is added with an ID 669D, whatever, 565C. Alright, so now if we wanted to get that, so let's just add another one real quick. Test task 2. Send. Now we have 2 items in our database. There we are. Alright. So now we gotta get those guys. Alright. So you know what else we also need? We also need a status. Right? And then status will always we can kind of say this is not started, in progress, and completed. Let's add those, and then it'll start it, not started yet. So here we'll say status, and then not started will be how it starts. So let's delete these guys real quick. Alright. So, whoops. Alright, test task. Send. So now we have status here, and it's saved inside of our DB, not started. And let's just send one more. Test task 2. Send. Now we have 2. Cool. Test task, and then we have a status. Coolio. Now if we want to get those guys, we can say, we'll make something called get tasks, and we'll say rest at get tasks. But then if we want to send, I think it's like this. It's optional. Task ID. Let's look it up. Molecular optional path param. Is it possible to have path parameters? Let's do optional path parameter Node.js. Okay, so it's a question mark afterwards. Okay. So there we go. Alright, so now you can say params, and task ID can sometimes come. So that's going to be a type of string, and optional, and that's going to be true. So those are the two so far. And async handler CTX, and we can say try catch. And so if ctx.params.taskid, we want to just return 1, so we can say return this.adapter.find find 1. No, we can say this.get by ID, and that will be at the ctx.params.taskid. Alright, now, and I would like to await on that as well. Alright, so, and then if it's not, we can just return this.adapter.find at, and then that's going to be, and we just want all of them, so let's just do that, and then maybe we'll let us sort later. We'll let us sort now. Let them sort. Created at, I think this is how you do it. Alright, so now if we go to localhost 3000 API v1 to-dos, get tasks. So now we see the 2 tasks here. If you want to see how this one's working, I think I use a Chrome extension called JSON View. And cool. So now if I want to just get 1, let's say I take this ID and I stick it in the back here, I get that 1 task, which is pretty cool. So now get tasks is pretty much done. We'll do update task. So update task, and then rest on a put at update task at task ID. So we're going to need to send task ID there, and then in the params, task ID will be type string and optional false, and so what do we have? We have the task that we can update, right? So we have type, and then task that needs to be updated, and then optional, we'll say true. No, I want to do like this: update task and then optional false, and then async handler, so tx, because I'm gonna make a separate endpoint to update status. It'll be a little bit like cleaner in my mind, because I don't want this update task to do 2 jobs, I guess, and we need to call update status a lot. There you are, and then const task ID and task from ctx.params, and then so first, now we need to do const update task and task to update. Maybe we call it, alright, whatever, I don't care. Await this dot adapter dot update by ID, and then that's going to take the ID. What is this? Okay. And then we'll take the task ID in there, and then we'll put set, which is the update command, and then we'll say task that's sent and then updated at the new date to ISO string, and then we'll just do the same thing. If task to update, let's just call it task. Update, we'll just call it update. Alright, there we go. Alright, update, and then if update, something goes wrong here, that's just something went wrong. There you go. And then if all good, we'll just return the update. Update. Nah, we'll just return update. Alright, cool. So we'll bring up the Insomnia. Let's go here. HTTP request. I think v1 to do's update task, and put HTTP localhost 3000 API v1 to do's update task. And then we would like to update, like, this one, and it says test task. It's the first task, right? So we'll put that ID there, and then we'll put the body of JSON, and I'm expecting task and updated task. Alright, so if we send that over, date to ISO string is not a constructor. Oops. One second. Forgot. So we got, like, that's, I like to use the molecular client error to string, because it kind of tells you a good error message. So if I save here now, whoops, I don't know, cancel. Alright, so now it's updated task and not started. So if I go back here, I refresh, it'll be updated task. If you check the Mongo Express, it's gonna say updated task on task 1, and if I just go and get all the tasks now, it'll get task 2 and an updated task. And for some reason the sort is not working. Oh, no, it is working, because you want the newer ones up top, right? So if you want it just to create it at, it'll be this, but we want the newer ones on top and the older ones. Yeah, I think so. All right. Oops. All right, cool. So now we need a delete task. All right, but we also need to update status. So let's just copy paste this guy, and we'll call this update status. And then task ID optional false, and then status type string optional false. And then in the fastest validators, there's something called enums. It takes only these values are allowed to come. Fastest validator. And then come here. Enum. So type array items, and then we can just say enum. And this is only allowed to take not started, in progress, and completed. I think that's what I said. Yeah. Alright, let's save this guy. So then let's go back to our insomnia. And let's go v1/v1 to do / update status. Let's just put the to do ID. I think that's what I called it. Task ID. Why didn't I call it to do ID? Alright. Whatever. Let's go with that. Task ID. Just so I know. And then task ID here. That'll be HTTP localhost 3000 API v1 to do's update status, and we'll take this this ID here and we'll put it at the end here, and then we'll go JSON. Gotta make this bigger. Anyway, or maybe if I'm here, I don't know. And then say status, and then what if we put something wrong? Let's go like this. Whoops. Oh. Put not resolve host name. Oops. Well, let's just do like this, and let's just return true really quick, just so I can see. Oh, two slashes. Alright. So if I do like this, it's going to say parameter validation error. Status field does not match any of the allowed values, and it's expecting not started, in progress, or completed. So if I say now, if I change this to in progress, it'll say it'll pass the validation. And so let's work on the API real quick. Uncomment this task ID, and then we're gonna ask for status from the params. Status will be updated, and then if something went wrong, so that's pretty much the same thing. Maybe we could kind of refactor this out into a method. but let's just chill up off it for now. So now if I change this, it'll say, hey, this guy's in progress. And that'll be reflected here, in progress, and it'll be reflected here. So in progress. Cool. So maybe in the get tasks, I want to send a status and then type string, and it can be optional true, and this is going to have the same enum, so I'll copy paste that enum here. Here. Alright, so we can do something like this. Let q equal empty object, and we'll say query equals q, and then if ctx.params dot status, we can just add q.status will equal ctx.params.status. Cool. So what's that doing is if I want a status, add it to the query object, and then it sends it off to the query. So let's check that out. So we have get tasks. So if I send you something like status, and I only want the in progress ones, that'll only give me the in progress ones because it sends it off the query. And then if I accidentally put 2s, it's going to give me a validation error. So molecular is pretty cool with this. It has everything built in. Batteries are included. So get tasks. Cool. So now we just need to do a delete task. Alright. So I'm just going to put a delete task. And rest delete on delete task, and then that's gonna have a task ID and params. Task ID will be a type string, optional false, and that's gonna say async handler ctx. So there's two type of things. There's a soft delete and a hard delete, right? And a hard delete is kind of like it really removes it from the database, and a soft is you just set the deleted at to null, and then up in the get, we'll just make it so that whenever you get something from here, you only get the ones that are null. So let me set that up here. So in the get tasks, I will just set this, and I only want the deleted at where it's null. So if it has, put that in one line. So if it has a value at deleted at, I don't want those because those are deleted. So in a soft delete case, you can actually undelete, right? And then we'll actually make a hard delete later. So this will just be a try catch. Const let's just do const update equals await this dot adapter dot update by ID, and then that'll take the ctx dot params dot task ID, and then we'll take atomic identifier set, and then deleted at will be const now equals new date to iso string, and that's going to be now, and then it's actually updated at, that's going to be now too. And then for some reason, if this does not work, we can say throw something went wrong. Whoops. And then all is good. Return update. Okay, cool. And I feel like these three endpoints kind of have the same logic, so maybe we'll refactor that out so we can add a method, and we can kind of call it update to do task, update task to do item. I don't know why I started calling them task, but okay, update to do item, and then we'll say something like async, and we can say if it's, we'll say something like, so we're just adding a different field, right? Status or task. It's task, status, or deleted at, right? So we can say field and value, and I think we can just say, so the const if field, I'm thinking, so the field will either be updated at, no, it'll be status, so just put a comment, field will be status, task, or deleted at, right? As a variable. So let's do it up here. So it'll be a string. It's gonna be task, status, or deleted at. Alright. And the value only comes in for task or status. Alright. So let me think here. So const update equals await this dot adapter dot update by ID. So we do need the ID. Let's just put that up here. ID. I like to put an underscore. So ID. And then we get to set. And then no matter what, we're going to do the now thing, right? Const now equals new date to iso string, and then updated at is always getting called here. And then for here we can take the field, right? And then if field equals deleted at, then we just want null, else we want value. I think that could work, but value is going to be sent anyways, so we can do like this. And if you put the brackets, square brackets in the key of an object, it'll equal out to the field that you're sending. Alright, so let's, I think this will work a little bit better. So return update. I'm in some kind of, alright, here, return update. And then maybe here, update to do item. Now, we kind of just remove here, and then we can say, and then we can take this out too. Oh, wait. Yes, cool. And since we're already doing here, we can do something like this. Nah, never mind. It's getting too crazy. So in the delete task, we can do now, and then const update equals await this dot update task. I think that's what I called it. Update task. Update to do item. Item. And then that takes an ID, so that's going to take the ctx.params.task ID, and then that's going to take deleted at, and that's going to take a now, and then we can just return update. And let's try it out. So now we have a deleted at here. That's the updated task. Whoops. Alright, now v1 to do's delete task ID, and then I'll just make it a delete, even though it's a put. Localhost 3000 API v1 delete to do's delete task, and then I'll just take the task ID from here. There. And then if I delete it, cool, it adds the deleted at. And now if we get it, whoops. Now if we get tasks, this guy won't show up because the it has a deleted at. Alright, cool. So let's make an undelete too. So recover task and rest, and let's get post at recover task at, let's make it a get, whatever. Alright, and then we'll just make a task ID there, and then params task ID, and then that's going to be type string and optional false. Alright, and then async handler ctx catch. And then what do I want to do here? I want to, so I would like to do the const get task equals await this dot get by ID. So these are all like methods and things inside of molecular or the DB adapter. So it's you can look through the documentation. It's all there. You can look through the node module. It's all there. So this get by ID on the ctx.params on task ID, and then if get task, if it doesn't come back, we can say throw not found, task not found, and then if get task dot deleted at, if that's still null, right? If it's null, throw task is not deleted. And okay, so if it's all good, we can say const recover equals await this dot adapter dot update by ID, and we can say on the ctx dot params dot task ID set, and then update it at, and we'll say new date to iso string, and we'll update the deleted at to null. Alright, coolio. And we'll return to recover. Alright, cool. So let's just open one more. So this guy's not working right now. Okay, let's do one more. In the get tasks, if recover or get deleted like this, and that's true, and that'll be a type boolean, and that'll be an wait, no, let's just do a get forget it, let's not do it here, we'll make another one later. Alright, so I think our recover function is finished, so let's just go here, MC, MV, and then get tasks. We want something called like recover task, and then at the ID, so we'll go back to the insomnia, we'll get the ID, and do that one, delete it as back to null, and we get both of the tasks back. Cool. So we can delete it. So far, what do we have? We have add task, get tasks, which has a get task, update task, update status, delete task, and then we have recover task. And molecular is really cool because it has a built-in kind of postman thing. We go to localhost 3000. So the REST APIs, and then in our to-dos, we have the add task, get task, update status, delete task, recover task. Cool. And cool. And now we'll connect it to the front end.